We are back to doing the UFC and Dana White's job, and I gotta say, I love this job. So, Dana, if you got an open, and let me know, because I am the best matchmaker on YouTube, and we're gonna go right into the UFC 309 matchmaking video, following up the pay-per-view between Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic. I'm gonna give you all the fights that I think should be made next, with relative dates and where I think they should be fighting and when. Without further ado, let's get into it. Jon Jones. I really think it's pretty obvious who Jones should be fighting next. I'm going to move that down there. I've been tooting the horn. Everyone really has. It's Tom Aspinall. Gotta happen. It's the only fight that we want to see. Dana White also said it's the only fight that he'll make for Jon Jones. If Jon Jones wants to fight again, it's got to be Aspinall or not. It'll be the biggest heavyweight fight of all time. I tend to agree. And I am going to actually give Jon Jones some credit here. One of the reasons this will be the biggest heavyweight fights of all time is because of how bad Jon Jones has been ducking. Now, we're calling it ducking because it does seem like he doesn't want to fight Aspinall. Don't want to say he's afraid, but it does seem like he doesn't want to fight Aspinall. But I do, as time continues to progress, think this is a marketing tactic to get everyone talking about Tom Aspinall, make it so when Jones-Aspinall happens, it is a massive fight. Jones says he will take a massive number. He has always been very highly compensated. I'm sure he'll be even more highly compensated to fight Tom Aspinall here. Tell me this isn't the perfect main event of International Fight Week. Tell me it's not. Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall headlining International Fight Week in June, end of June, early July. I would love for this to be sooner. I really would. I just cannot see a world in which Jon Jones is going to turn around on 4 or 5 months' notice and fight Tom Aspinall. I can't see it. I think there's going to be negotiations that need to get done. I think we could see a situation where this fight gets booked for an earlier date, and then it gets pushed to International Fight Week because Jones is trying to fuck with Aspinall a little bit, maybe make him overtrain, overwork, maybe make him stale out of the octagon for a little bit, because recently, the last time the guy fought was in July. Now we're going to be looking at 11 months, maybe a full year. And, let's be real, his fight time in the octagon's been a minute, multiple times consecutively now. So you're like, what? How much octagon time does this guy have? Is there going to be any ring rust? I think Jon's going to play that game a little bit. So I ultimately think this will be the main event of a pay-per-view in July. I would love for it to be June, but this screams International Fight Week to me. Could be the fight of the year, the most anticipated fight, and everyone will be sure to tune in. Next up, Stipe retired, so we're obviously not matchmaking him. Shout out Stipe. Love Stipe Miocic. Big Stipe Miocic fan. Realized that I had been disrespecting him a little bit by saying how much he didn't deserve the fight and how old he is and stuff like that. It's not meant that way. It's more meant to just be like, hey guys, Jones is a coward for fighting a 42-year-old instead of the real number one contender. But we're going to move on to Charles Oliveira. Big win. I'm seeing everyone say it should be Islam Makhachev or Arman Tsarukyan. Whoever wins, I get it. He went to a razor-close decision with Arman Tsarukyan that a lot of people thought he won. Islam Makhachev kind of destroyed him. I get that Dubronx is a guy that can fight for the lightweight title. He absolutely can, but I want to see Islam against different kind of competition. It's been Volk twice. It's going to be Arman twice. Now, Charles twice. I don't really want to see that just yet. Now, Charles can have that fight, but I think co-main event on International Fight Week, 5-round co-main event with Max Holloway for the BMF belt. If you put these two on a card, Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall, Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira, 5 rounds, International Fight Week, main event, co-main event, it will be the highest selling pay-per-view of all time. Guaranteed. I guarantee it. This will pass McGregor Khabib, I swear to God. Jones and Aspinall with Oliveira and Holloway on it will pass Khabib 100%. Khabib and McGregor. Sick fight card. Oliveira's a BMF, dude. He really is a BMF. Max Holloway is a BMF. I think both are going to want a little bit of time off going into that July time with the amount of damage they took in the fight. Max Holloway obviously got knocked out by Ilia Topuria for the first time ever. First time he's ever been knocked out. He's going to want some of that time off. Give him the 8 months. Charles Oliveira. You may say, well, he kind of dominated Chandler. It's not like he took a ton of punches. He took punches, but the reason I want him to take a lot of time off is those back of the head shots warrant time off. He should have those 6-7 months off, maybe 8 months off to fight at International Fight Week. So I think Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway, BMF belt, 5-round co-main event to Jones versus Aspinall. That will make it the highest selling event of all time. International Fight Week in Las Vegas. This is the event that we need to see. Make it happen. Michael Chandler, the biggest cheater at lightweight. Colby Covington. Now hear me out. Colby's fighting in 3 weeks against Joaquin Buckley. I actually think Colby's going to lose that fight, but whether he wins or loses, I think Michael Chandler's the fight to make. Chandler talked about how hard it is to fight at 155. If he ever ends up wanting to fight McGregor, McGregor's going to want to do it at 170. Let's get him a fight at 170. A fight that I think is winnable for him. Colby Covington, I think, is a winnable fight. I really do. I think Colby's hittable, and I think Michael Chandler is good enough at sprawling the takedowns that Colby Covington tries to throw. Now, Oliveira's are a little bit different because he just transitions to the back and will drag you down. And he can take down, like, Chandler's not the easiest guy to take down. Oliveira was able to do it, but he doesn't do it in the same way that Colby does. Colby's the kind of guy he's got more of that wrestling takedown style than the jiu-jitsu takedown style. I know that doesn't make sense as I'm saying it, but Colby will transition and camp on your back, but he's not really dragging you to the floor as well from your back as like a guy like Charles Oliveira is. And I also think Chandler's going to be very technically skilled at 170 as well. Not that Colby isn't, but I think this works for Chandler. Colby's an older guy, Chandler's an older guy. Two dudes that are going to chirp it up at the press conference. They're probably not going to like each other. Colby's going to say some shit that is going to get Chandler all pissed off and riled up that we're going to kind of be intrigued in. And while I don't like Colby Covington, I think he can become likable by just taking this fight, because I think Chandler's really starting to piss a lot of people off with his dirty fight style and just the undeservedness of what he gets. I think you got two guys that get the most undeserving fights in the UFC. You match them up against each other. You put this on as the co-main event of a pay-per-view, let's say at the beginning of June. I think it's a great fight to make. Chandler, Colby Covington, co-main event of a pay-per-view in June. Great fight to make. Moving on. Bo Nickel left a lot to be desired in his win. He won. He did dominate, but it left a lot to be desired. You gotta go out there. I'm just saying, Hamzat finishes Paul Craig. Whitaker finishes Paul Craig. Imavov finishes Paul Craig. Strickland more dominantly beats Paul Craig to a decision. Dricus kills Paul Craig. Bo's been talking this game, and I've been trying to back it up, but after that performance, bro, I don't know that you're ready for top 15. But I think a Renier de Ridder fight makes all the sense in the world. Renier de Ridder's coming off a big win over Gerald Mearshart. I don't think Renier de Ridder deserves a top opponent yet. Top 15 opponent. I think Bo Nickel's a fight to make. Bo Nickel, Renier de Ridder. Listen, this is a guy that's going to stand on the feet and has goofy striking, but he does have the ability to stand on the feet a little bit better than Paul Craig, in my opinion. And he also has great grappling. So I think this is one of those fights where we can see Bo really mix things up and show us how good he is, because it seems like in every fight Bo's in, he's not trying to mix things up. He's trying to show us how good just his hands are, or he's trying to show us how good he is at grappling. I want to see Bo mix things up. I think this is a fight that we can see him do it. And if he doesn't get past Renier de Ridder, then we know that he's not top 15 worthy. If he does get past Renier de Ridder, then he gets to fight in the top 15, maybe even get the number 15 ranked spot. I mean, we know the UFC just put Shar at 14 for beating Petrosian for no reason. But I think Bo and Renier de Ridder is a great fight to make. You make this as the main card opener of the International Fight Week card. Again, it's going to sell consistent pay-per-views. If your International Fight Week card looks John Jones, Tom Aspinall, Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway, BMF belt and undisputed heavyweight belt, 5 rounds each, then it has 2 solid ranked fights in the middle, and then you open up the card with Bo Nickel, Renier de Ridder. This is going to be the biggest selling pay-per-view of all time. You're getting an automatic 25K pay-per-view buys by just having Bo Nickel on the card. Sad, but it's true. Paul Craig lost. I think there's one fight for Paul Craig to make at this point. The hardcores want to see it. Come on! Gerald Mearshart, Paul Craig, tell me this doesn't make all the sense in the world. 2 guys with absolutely mid-striking, but tremendous grappling. I think this is just a hardcore fans fight. It's just one that we're going to be like, all right, let's see the scrambles. Let's see how this goes. It's a fun one. You tune in. This has Fight night, main card written all over it. Obviously not main event, but I think main card opener of a fight night. I think this will be good in front of a crowd because the UFC is going to be traveling more, it seems, with the Apex under construction. Paul Craig, Gerald Mearshart, main card opener of a fight night sometime in, I say, May. Make it happen. I think it's a great fight to make. Moving on. Viviane Araújo. Big win, kind of, over Karine Silva. I do think she won. Rose Namajunas. She beat Karine Silva. She should go up in the rankings. Rose Namajunas lost to Erin Blanchfield. She should go down in the rankings. I think this makes all the sense in the world. Rose Namajunas, Viviane Araújo. It's going to be a boring fight. Dana's going to put it as the co-main event of a fucking, or the main event of an Apex card. But yeah, you put this on the main card of a fight night. I really wish it would be like a main card opener, something not super high up on the card because it's just not that intriguing. But if you go to Brazil, put this on the Brazil card. I think it makes sense. Rose, Viviane Araújo, yeah, we'll move on. Karine Silva, lost. Ariane Lipski, also coming off a loss. Similar spots in the rankings. Haven't fought each other yet. Makes sense to me. Karine Silva, Ariane Lipski. Prelims of a pay-per-view, I'm cool with it. If it's on the prelims, I'm fine with it. I just don't want to be paying for that fight. Don't want to be paying for this fight. Didn't want to pay for this fight. She's like, I don't know, like, they're momentum killers, dude. Like, it's a momentum killer every fucking time. Like, there are very few that you should, like, Zhang Wei Li can go on. Joanna Jędrzejczyk can go on. The old Rose could have went on, but she don't deserve it anymore. Macy Barber can go on because she makes every fight fun. Like, but come on, dude. Let's not kill the vibes of a pay-per-view. So put this on the prelims of a pay-per-view. Fight night. Either or, whatever. Ariane Lipski, Karine Silva, moving on. Marcio Hufi. Esteban Ribovic. Tell me this isn't a sick fight. Two bigger names. And I'm saying Esteban Ribovic is a name now. He's been in these like fight of the year candidates. Like he had a knockout of the year against Terrence McKinney. And then he went to a fight of the year against Daniel Zellhuber. And the last fun fight on that card in the Sphere. He helped make that card great. He's one of the reasons that card was good. Because Esteban Ribovic went out and just put a show on. Sick fight. Esteban Ribovic, Marcio Hufi. I don't think Hufi took too much damage. I'd like to see him turn around rather quickly. I think sometime in March on a pay-per-view. If they go to Brazil earlier, go there. But I'm seeing this as a fight night main card or the prelim headliner of a pay-per-view. March, April. I think March is going to be in England, so I don't know if this is an England fight, but if you did like a fight night in March, put this on the main card, feature fight, it's a sick one to make, it helps build both guys' names, and whoever wins this fight, you get to start looking up possibly a ranked opponent for Esteban Ribovic, and you can argue that if Marcio Hufi looks good and gets a finish in this fight, you can argue that he could start to look into the rankings as well. But you're going to have a star coming out of this fight no matter who wins. I'm telling you, it's fireworks. It's a great fight. Make it happen. These guys are going to stand and strike the whole time. It's going to be awesome. Moving on, Marcus McGee, big ranked win against Jonathan Martinez. Looked good. You see, I don't have a lot of the losers in this video because, to be real, a lot of them don't deserve it. Like, I'm not putting James Lontop in here. I did put J-Mart because he's ranked and I think he does deserve it. And Roberto Romero because he showed that, like, I want his name to be talked about. What a great performance from him. But Marcus McGee's going to fight Mario Batista. Now, I keep putting everyone that has a great performance up against Mario Batista because I want them to destroy him. But I'm going to go with Marcus McGee versus Mario Batista. Hear me out. Marcus McGee's going to go ranked in the 13 spot. Mario Batista's in the 10 spot. Mario Batista does not deserve to jump up in the rankings for robbing Jose Aldo and stinking up the fight against him. They having the most cowardly way out. Marcus McGee, I think, is the guy that Mario Batista is not going to be able to do that against. And I think Marcus McGee is going to be powerful enough and he's good enough where he's going to be able to really hurt him. The only reason Marcus McGee didn't have a flawless performance is because Jonathan Martinez has steel rods in his leg. I swear to God, this guy kicks harder than anyone I've ever seen in my life. Marcus McGee, Mario Batista, this is the fight to make. And I think this is a main card of a fight night. I think you can put this on the prelim headliner of a pay-per-view. I would love to see this sometime in like February main card. I mean, you might need a little time to heal that leg. I'd say March main card of a pay-per-view. I'm sorry, March prelim headliner of a pay-per-view or March main card of a fight night. in front of in front of a crowd. You can put this as honestly, Mario Batista versus Marcus McGee is probably the feature fight of a main card of a fight night in front of a crowd. I think it's a great one to put on. Ranked bantamweights, it makes all the sense in the world. Moving on, Jonathan Martinez, Kyler Phillips, both coming off losses in the rankings. I think this is a fight that the winner can stay ranked at like 14 or 15. Loser falls out of the rankings. Both guys coming off losses, but I do think it makes sense to fight them. Jonathan Martinez fought out of the rankings against Marcus McGee and took a chance. They did him a solid by doing that. Kyler Phillips has just looked bad. He didn't look good against Munoz. He didn't look good against Font. I don't think he's a ranked quality fighter. I think it's going to be a good one. And as you guys know, I'm a big Jonathan Martinez fan. I'm trying to get him a win here. I think he just beats the piss out of Kyler Phillips, if I'm being honest. So, Jonathan Martinez, Kyler Phillips, main card of a fight night sometime in March. Make it happen. Moving on, Jim Miller. This one pains me to do, but I don't know what else to do at this point. Legends fight. Jim Miller is going to be able to keep fighting after this unless he takes a life-altering amount of damage. I think it's winnable for Tony. Even though I think Jim Miller wins, this is winnable for Tony Ferguson. And if he does lose, this is the right kind of competitor to retire against. Prelim headliner of International Fight Week, Jim Miller, Tony Ferguson. I would love to see this happen. You could also do it in April. Honestly, I'm cool with the UFC 3. What it'll be? It'll be 314 pay-per-view at the end of March or at the beginning of April. Prelim headliner, main card opener. I'm cool with Tony Ferguson, Jim Miller. This is a good fight to make happen. Moving on, David Onama. This guy's a monster. He's really good. Joe Anderson Brito. Hardcores look at this fight and go, fuck yeah. This fight's sick. Onama coming off a win, Brito coming off a loss, but he's just outside those rankings. I think this is the fight to make. Onama, Brito, these guys are going to go to war. You can put this on the main card of a fight night and it's going to bop. You can put this as the prelim headliner of a pay-per-view and it's going to bop. This is a guaranteed to deliver fight. Guaranteed. We're going to move on. Marcin Tybura. Derek Lewis. I actually think this is a very fun fight. I think Derek Lewis will actually bring the fight to Marcin Tybura, and Marcin Tybura is actually not afraid to back down ever. I don't think Marcin Tybura is going to be able to severely out-grapple Derek Lewis, because Derek Lewis, if Marcin Tybura passes to mount, Derek Lewis is just going to get up, because jiu-jitsu doesn't work for Derek Lewis. I swear to God, just ask Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida just strangles everyone on the ground. Derek Lewis didn't get tapped out. Instead, he had multiple times where he was able to get back to the feet. Doesn't happen to anyone else. Marcin Tybura, Derek Lewis, UFC. Honestly, they're going to make this the fucking main event of some fight night. I know it. I'd rather see it be like the co-main of a fight night and have a better fight up top on the card, but we'll see what they do. Derek Lewis, Marcin Tybura. I think February is a good time frame. Main card of a fight night. Co-main would be sick. Roberto Romero, you're in this video because of how good of a performance you put on short notice against a tough, dangerous competitor in David Onama. You got a place in the UFC, you got a fan here in me, and you got a hype team in the Sandbox MMA channel because, dude, I'm a very big fan of this guy. Hyder Emil. I think this is a chance for Roberto Romero to get a bounce-back win. Hyder Emil's got a good highlight that we just saw recently, like a 40-punch combination, get a victory. I think this fight makes all the sense in the world. You can put this on the prelim of a fight night card sometime in March. I think makes all the sense in the world. These are the fight night matchups. If you have any better ones or any ones that you would prefer to see, please let me know in the comments. Always open to hearing it. But these are the picks, the picks and predictions. These are the matchups. Dana White, listen to me for once, man. Please. I know what the fans want. I know what most fans want because I don't agree with any Jones fan in the world, so I know they don't want Aspinall, but the real ones know that Aspinall's the next fight. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe.